What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Welcome, one and all, to the December/January patron Q&A and fleet member supporter Q&A. So, December was a super busy month for me in my old family. We bought a new house. We built a new house. You know, we were building a house for the past 6 months, and it was finished. We closed early December. And it was just kind of chaotic, and I kept saying, you know, I'll get to the supporter Q&A this month. I'll get to the supporter Q&A over and over again, and eventually it just completely fell apart. I didn't have any time to knock it out. So, here we are, splitting December and January into one long-ass supporter Q&A. We got, like, I think almost 30 questions or so, which is definitely more than the normal questions from Patreon, rather. So Grant Guthrie, Muddler, Grant, Icy, Bubba, Psychotic, Vince Wynn, welcome, guys. It's good to see you. Everybody that's not a fleet member watching the chat right now, I appreciate you tuning in. Sit back, enjoy yourselves. The way these Q&As work is, fleet members talk in the chat. I talk to the fleet members in the chat, and I also get questions from Patreon. So that's kind of how it goes. But I hope everybody's having a fantastic start to their week. If I haven't seen you since the holidays, I hope you had a fun Christmas, a fun holiday, a fun New Year celebration. And nothing other than the new house. Nothing's really new with me. Just plugging away, just working on a bunch of freelance stuff. Trying to get the house situated. Still unpacking. The garage is still a complete disaster. It's going to be that way, hopefully not much longer. I think I'm going to try to knock it out this weekend, the majority of it at least. But anyway, welcome, guys. Sully, good to see you. Psychotic, good to see you as well, man. Let's jump into a patron question. The first patron question of the evening comes from Stephen Milicia. Milicia? That's really small. Let me bring it up on my other monitor. Yeah, these supporter Q&As are usually super laid back, and just kind of relaxing, as you can tell by the, hey, you're getting a massage kind of music playing right now. All right. Stephen Milicia. I keep butchering that. Asked the first patron question. It's a month ago from December. He says, hey, Greedo. I just finished watching the documentary for Jedi Fallen Order that was included in the deluxe edition last night, and I saw a familiar face/helmet. How did you feel seeing your Jedi Fallen Order first impressions video had been immortalized within the game itself, and by extension, you yourself being in a new Star Wars game? I didn't really think of it that way, Stephen. It was definitely very humbling. I actually haven't watched the documentary from start to finish just because of time. But when somebody told me that that I was in there, I did the super egotistical dipshit thing, and I fast forwarded to like the chunk of time where they said I was, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's what I did. So yeah, it was really very surreal, you know. I was out for the Battlefront 2015 kind of, I don't even know what you call it, premiere. I was out for the Battlefront 2. I was out for EA Play. Wait, what? Oh yeah, San Francisco for Battlefront 2. No, Battlefront 1. Oh, dude, I am so all over the place, confused right now. I can't remember which ones I went to. It was Battlefront 2. Yeah, it was Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 in 2017, and then Jedi Fallen Order for EA Play. And I met a lot of the developers and some of the social media guys. Super nice. And when they asked me if they could use my video for the documentary, I was like, hell yeah, absolutely. It's all very humbling for sure. It's all extremely humbling, you know. It's kind of like almost, if you don't have imposter syndrome, you're doing it wrong. It's heavy imposter syndrome and imposter syndrome, right? But it's very cool, Steven. And I need to sit down and actually watch the documentary from start to finish. My wife is actually going out of town with a couple of her friends this weekend, so I might fire that up and pop a bowl of popcorn, see if I can play it on my couch somehow. But yeah, I appreciate the question, man. Grant Guthrie, Greedo, you got to check out the Empire at War remake mod. It's absolutely stunning, and I feel you'd absolutely enjoy it. Is that the one that I think Eckert's Ladder has talked about before? I've had a bunch of people mention that in the stream, in past streams, Grant. I definitely want to get on that and check it out for sure. I used to play that game a little bit when it first came out. For whatever reason, you know, there were a lot of other games that me and my friends were playing, and I think that's kind of the story with a lot of Star Wars games that came out for me. You know, a Star Wars game would come out, but I was still like knee deep playing, I don't know, Counter-Strike and Ultima Online and all these like other MMOs and stuff like that with my buddies, and I didn't really give a lot of the games that came out Star Wars wise the time of the day. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out for sure. All right. Will Thompson asks the next patron question. Any thoughts on the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art? Ever heard of it? Excited myself. Never before have I been excited about construction of a museum, but I guess this is Lucas's museum. Yeah, it's in Chicago, right? Let me look that up. I actually don't know if that's true. George Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. And it doesn't, on the homepage, it doesn't say where it's at. How does that not, oh, Los Angeles. Is that true? Wait. Why did I think it was going to be in Chicago? Was it, where the hell is this thing? It doesn't say it on the beginning of this, on the homepage. Oh, I guess there's a SpaceX launch tonight that I'd be able to see. Weird. Where is it? Okay. This is taking way too long. Okay, here we go. It is in Los Angeles. Okay. It will be in Los Angeles. Interesting. Why did I think it was going to be in Chicago? Oh, proposed Chicago site. Okay, it was originally maybe going to be chosen for Chicago. Interesting. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get a chance to go out there and see it. I don't really know. I haven't really looked that deep into it, Will. I don't know all what's going to be there. I would assume there's going to be a lot of movie, I guess, props and thing to see, as most museums have, you know, physical things that you can look at. If that's the case, I would love to go. When I went to the website, the big thing there was E.T., a picture of E.T., and I would love to be able to check that out. But, you know, if I'm ever out for like another EA event, that's probably a destination that I would love to get a chance to go to. When it comes to museums, I've been to a lot in DC. I went to some in London. My favorite types of museums are like natural history museums and science museums and stuff like that. I've never been to anything like a narrative art museum. I'm assuming there's some that are very similar to that or have a similar name to that. I don't even know what they would show. It's kind of intriguing. I'm gonna have to look into it, Will. But yeah, I'm trying to. What's the last museum that I went to? I mean, little stuff in like Savannah that I've been to before. And St. Augustine that I've been to a million times. But man, I went to like when we were in DC. Me and my wife went to DC in 2013, I think. We hit every museum we could. I'm sure I've been to some since then. I've actually heard of that D-Day Museum in New Orleans, Vince. I've heard of that. Yeah, that was always something that I wanted to get a chance to go to. Speaking of D-Day, World War II and whatnot, I've always wanted to go out to France and do some... calling it sightseeing is a pretty light way to put it, right? but see some sites that I would be, familiar with. and walk a path, you know. That'd be interesting. But anyway, Will, I appreciate that question, man, and I'm going to keep my my eyes peeled for any information on the old museum. All right, cool. Are you close enough to Kennedy Space Center to see rocket launches? Icy Bubba. Yeah, you know, it's actually kind of visible, surprisingly, from where we're at. We're, you know, 2 hours away from Orlando. I would say about 2.5 hours from the Cape. Well, maybe not. Now that we moved, we're 30 minutes closer than we were. But yeah, you could see it. You can see. It's kind of hard to explain. It looks like it's definitely brighter than a plane, but you know, it's a dot on the horizon, especially at night. That rises from the sky. It's not like it brightens up the sky or anything as if you were there miles away. But it's definitely visible. Yeah, it's I would say it's brighter than the International Space Station when you see it. But yeah. Jai, good to see you, man. Hey, Greedo, just a heads up. I'm getting a full Star Wars sleeve tattoo going to cost me $6,000 with Darth Maul, Grievous, Boba Fett, and Kylo Ren with my dad's name in Arabic as a dedication. Hell yeah, that's awesome. Jai, if you scroll through my Instagram, yeah, I took a picture. When was that? It was over a year ago. So maybe a year and a half ago. If you scroll back far enough, you'll see a picture of one of my best buds. I've known this guy since I was like 13. He was actually the first person I ever met in high school. Super awesome guy, officer in the Navy. And he has a full Star Wars sleeve, and it is so insanely well done. Yeah, I mean, to the point of like hilarity, how accurate and just crystal clear and amazing it is. It's crazy. But best of luck, man. My wife actually got her first tattoo this weekend. Or last weekend, rather. Yesterday, actually. Kind of a dedication to her mom that passed away about a year ago. So, once you're done with it, Jai, and I'm sure it's going to be a long process, you'll have to share a picture with all of us. I like seeing that kind of shit, for sure. The next patron question comes from Grant. Grant Dacaret. I feel like I always butcher this, Grant, and I apologize. I'm a big dummy. He says, hey, Greedo, my favorite Star Wars media is the holiday special. I put it on... Wait, let me read that again. My favorite Star Wars media is the holiday special. Okay. I put it on every year to annoy people, and there we go. And there's the answer I was looking for. And it's really great every time. When I came to Japan and put it on for my friends, it was perfect since they didn't need to read subtitles. And to many, it was their first experience with Star Wars. Oh, interesting. Now I think it'd be in Disney's best interest to make a sequel to the holiday special and have it just be as great as the original. I need your help to pitch ideas. What would make a holiday special sequel amazing? P.S. No one has ever liked the holiday special. I just like seeing their reactions to it. The sequel to the holiday special. First of all, that is not an idea that very many people would want. What about just a remake of it? No, not a remake. That'd be boring. A holiday special. I would want the original cast in it. Well, you can't do that. Carrie Fisher, right? How would you do it? I think you would have to incorporate Life Day. Oh my god, this is such a horrible idea, Grant. I don't know. I used to put the holiday special on every year. This was like more than 3 or 4 years ago. And beyond. I used to put it on every year as like some kind of pleasure from pain kind of thing. It's so bad it's good, right? But dude, Grant, my brother-in-law actually texted me the other day. He went and saw The Rise of Skywalker at the, I've talked about that local small independent theater that I love to go to, and he was seeing The Rise of Skywalker there. And whenever they show a Star Wars movie there, before the movie plays for like 30 minutes, they always show the holiday special. And it's just fun to go. You know, you got to get there early, and you get to see it on a big screen. It's hilarious. And he texted me, and I don't think he had ever heard of it before. And he was like, "Have you ever seen the holiday special?" And I was like, "Yeah, I used to watch it all the time every Christmas." And he said, I feel like I'm on drugs. And it was just kind of funny. I told him to look up the story. I'm curious if he did, of the old holiday special. So I've actually never forced anybody to watch it. I've had it on. I had it on during a Christmas party that I had after deployment. This was in 2011. So I got back from deployment, and dude, it's hilarious. Like looking at, this is kind of a sidetrack, but looking at my first Christmas back home from deployment was outrageous. The way I went all out for Christmas. And I think it's some kind of psychological thing. I've thought about this extensively. I was deployed during the Christmas of 2010. You know, we had turkey on the boat. And that's about it. You know, people wore Santa hats, and that's about it. Not very eventful. And then Christmas of 2011, the first Christmas of me being back home, I decorated the shit out of our apartment, me and my wife's apartment. I bought lights, and I strung Christmas lights on all corners of the interior, of our apartment. You plugged it in, and the entire apartment glowed from ceiling to ceiling, from corner to corner, from baseboard to baseboard on the bottom. Was nothing but like track lighting of Christmas lights all around. It was ridiculous and over the top. And I think it was some kind of like psychological thing of me missing out on the previous Christmas, and finally having, you know, a Christmas to be home for. Interesting. And for that Christmas party that I had that year, I actually had the holiday special just playing as background noise, right? But a sequel to the holiday special, I don't want it. Grant, no thank you. I would rather them put their efforts into something else. Now, if somebody wanted to make a holiday special thing for YouTube, just some like kind of fan thing, that's a cool idea. I would like that. People's like modern spin on a holiday special on YouTube. Somebody needs to make that fan film. That's the fan film that I want to see. Stop doing the same lightsaber fights over and over again. Stop downloading the same lightsaber plugin for After Effects and making your fan film. Make a Star Wars holiday special sequel fan film. That's what I want to see. Anyway, I appreciate that, Grant. Now I won't think about the holiday special for another year. I think it was another Grant, man. It has to include Chewie's son. Yeah, you could do that. Happy Death Day. I'm sure there is some kind of death day, right? Probably. It's what the Sith holiday is. It's Death Day. On the nose. First time I heard the sound barrier break was during a rocket launch at Kennedy Space Center. Yeah, scared the crap out of me. LOL. Icy Bubba. There you go, man. Yeah. I've seen a bunch of shuttle launches living so close to the Cape. You know, I actually haven't been down there for any launches since they canceled the shuttle program. And I miss it, man. That was in 2012? Let me see. STS-135, I believe. I still have the t-shirts. Yep, STS-135, 2011. I got out of the Navy like a month before that. I have pictures of me and my wife like seeing that shuttle launch with my dad and my sister, and my hair was way longer than it had been previous 4 years, so that makes complete sense. But dude, I miss going down there for the launches. It's such an awesome experience. The crowd is so into it. You know, everybody's like camping out, and then the countdown happens, and it's just like it. I've seen shuttle launches like on Kennedy Space Center grounds, and I've also seen them like, you know, Spaceview Park and like across the inlet there, which is still, you know, there's not a bad seat in the house. And every time it's like you see it launch, bright light, especially at night. Night launches are great. I love daytime launches, but night launches are incredible. Night launches are the sky brightens up like a sunrise. It is as bright as a sunrise, and then you shake. Your chest just shakes. It's such a cool feeling. Where the hell did my chat go? There we go. Oh yeah. Anyway. I love it. I love it. Anyway, the next question comes from Mr. Ryan Harp. Good to see you, Mr. Ryan. Hey, Greedo. Since it's December and since I don't have a good question again, even though you said any question is good during last month's Q&A, I'm going to keep it simple to the end of the year and decade. What do you want for Christmas? Thanks for being awesome. Keep kicking ass. Merry Christmas and happy 2020. Yeah, some of these questions are going to reflect a month ago, so I apologize. I'm sure there's going to be some like Rise of Skywalker questions and stuff like that, but so what did I want for Christmas? I probably annoyed my wife because I kept saying nothing. Let's just get our daughter something, right? Really all I wanted was the one thing that I think we needed was a sound bar.
Oh, one sec. How you been doing, man? I wanted to ask if the next trilogy isn't set in the Old Republic, what time period would you like to see?
Miles
also, keep up
Davis.
The good work, man. Love the channel.
Miles Davis, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. I greatly appreciate that this evening. Give me one sec. Let me answer Ryan Harp's patron question real quick. So Ryan, yeah, I the only one thing that I wanted was a sound bar for our living room TV, and my wife got me one. It sounds great. It's an LG. I don't really know too much about them, but it puts out great sound, way better than the natural whatever stock TV speakers come with, and that's really all I really wanted. And with a kid now, we've kind of decided that let's put all of our effort for Christmas into the kid rather than getting ourselves a bunch of stuff, So a soundbar was just kind of perfect. The next thing that I'm looking to get eventually is a new office chair. My old office chair I threw it away when we moved just because it was peeling and it was coming apart. Every time I sat down in it, like flakes of fake leather would just dust off everywhere. I mean, it was a mess. I would stand up and I would walk around my parents' house and like my ass was just covered in fake leather. So I threw it away. Right now I'm sitting in a kitchen chair. It is very uncomfortable. No wheels, obviously. It's just like a little very sleek modern kitchen chair with no armrests, and I am in desperate need of a new office chair, and that's the next purchase that I'm going to make. Anyway, Ryan, I appreciate the question. I hope you had a good Christmas, and I hope your New Year's celebration was a fun one, man. I appreciate that. And Miles Davis, once again, thank you for the super chat and channel support this evening. Miles Davis says, "Hey Greedo, how you been doing, man? Things are going really well. We're pretty much settled into the new house. We just have to clear out that god-awful mess of a garage that is just full of boxes. It looks like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I wanted to ask if the next trilogy isn't set in the Old Republic, what time period would you like to see it? Also, keep up the good work, man. Love the channel." I appreciate the kind words there. So, Miles, I do, I like the idea of an Old Republic trilogy. I like the idea, mainly because I like the idea of kind of a political thriller. I would love a political thriller Star Wars TV show, if that makes sense. Kind of like Bloodline, the novel Bloodline. I think that would be fun. Anyway, that's not the question. So, if I was to get a trilogy, Miles, anything other than the Old Republic, I would choose something way back, even further than that. And this is an idea that I've talked about before, so I apologize if you guys have heard me say this, but I like the idea of going way back in time and looking at the people who discovered the Force, right? Because I've always seen the Force as almost like gravity, where it's always been there, right? It's there. It just took some people to discover it. And I would love to kind of, look at the people who discovered the Force and see factions splintering, different mindsets coming into play. I would like, some people would want to harbor it for themselves and keep it for personal gain, this knowledge. Some people might want to democratize it, spread it across the galaxy, and they think that everybody deserves to know about this power, this ability, this force. And then you would have some people who would want to destroy it altogether, fearing that it would get into the wrong hands, right? So if I had to pick a trilogy or a time frame or something to be about, I think something like that would be really interesting. Something like that would be very different and unique for the franchise. So I don't know what time frame that would be in terms of, the calendar of Star Wars, but I think something like that would be, like I said, just really unique and different. And I think for the future of the franchise, really unique and different is what they're going to have to do eventually, Okay, there we go. But I appreciate that, Miles. I appreciate that channel support this evening, man. And 6 Foot Piss Radius asks the next question. It's good to see you. Oh, you're in the chat too. What's up, man? Hope you're having a good one. 6 Foot asks from Patreon. Hey, Greedo, thanks as always for taking the time. I'm sure I've asked you this in one way or another before, but what are some of your favorite beers? Specifically, the kind you like that aren't exclusively to your local brewery, so I may get to enjoy them as well. The holidays are coming up, which means I'll want a shit ton of alcohol. Thanks for being so cool. Also, what are your thoughts on corporate personhood as they relate to Hairy Legs Foundation? I don't know what you're talking about there. HLF, Hairy Legs Foundation. So 6 Foot. If I'm not talking local breweries and stuff like that, there are some smaller breweries that do ship nationwide distribution. So some of my go-tos are like Dogfish Head has some great beer. Dogfish Head makes really great beer. One of my favorites is a Goza, like a sour beer. It's called salt. Oh, what is it called? Salty. No, not Salty Dog. What is it called? Dogfish Head Goza. Sequench. Yeah. One of my go-tos lately is Dogfish Head Sequench Ale. It's like a sour. They make really good gozas, really good sours. So I recommend them for that kind of stuff. They make really good unique stuff too around the holidays and around like Thanksgiving. They make a pumpkin beer that's called Pump Kick. Dogfish Head Pumpkin Ale. Is it called Pump Kick? Yeah. Oh no, I'm thinking of somebody else. But Dogfish Head makes a pumpkin ale. It's called Pumpkin Ale. It's so good. There's also Anderson Valley. I think they're from Asheville, North Carolina. I could be wrong about that. I'm probably wrong about that, but they make some really great stuff too. I would recommend Anderson Valley. They make a lot of good gozas as well. I've been into like a sour kick for the past few years, but if I'm going to the store and I'm just going to pick something up that is, relatively cheap compared to a lot of the stuff that I just mentioned, I'll go for like a Newcastle Brown Ale or even a Guinness. I'll go for a Guinness. Guinness, if you have a lot of the stouts that, I like, it tastes pretty watered down. But that's kind of, I don't know. So I'll drink anything, but but I recommend checking out some Anderson Valley, checking out some Dogfish Head, checking out some Sweetwater, just to name some beers that are, I believe nationwide, have nationwide distribution. I believe they do. But yeah, man, it's fun to kind of explore and try new stuff. It's I don't know, it's kind of it's been a fun time for that kind of stuff for the past like 10 years or so. I know a lot of breweries have popped up in my city, and it's just kind of, it's a new adventure every time. So many of them are so similar to one another, though. It's like, cool, you got reused wood tables, check. You got Edison bulbs, check. You got funky names for your beers, check. You got funky artwork on the walls, check. It's like all the same. There's a brewery around me called Veterans United, and I love that place because You walk in. It's owned by veterans. It's operated by veterans, and the clientele there, you can tell, are all veterans whenever you go in. And the walls are nothing. If you ever get a chance, just Google Veterans United Brewery, Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm sure you'll find pictures of the inside. It's just wall to wall, like I don't know, squadron patches and I don't know, posters and stuff like that of aircraft. It's really cool. I love it. But anyway, I appreciate that 6 foot. Let me know what you try. I'll start taking pictures of my fridge. You can see what I got. But I appreciate that, man. I saw, where'd he go? Took 17. Thanks for stopping in, man. It's good to see you. I saw your post. So a little bit into the book. You and I have a similar experience, accidentally drawing Nazi symbols on homework because of Indiana Jones. Funny stuff in its own way. Yeah, I thought about that memory. That's hilarious, dude, that you had a similar memory. So if you guys haven't checked out the book, there's a little story in there where, I was probably in elementary school, and I was a huge Indiana Jones fan, as we all were, right? And I was a big drawer. I loved drawing. And on this one particular piece of homework, I drew Indiana Jones swinging onto a truck. And on the side of the truck, I drew a big fat, historically, or for the 30s and 40s, historically, pretty evil symbol, not knowing anything about the significance of it. My mom made me erase it. I didn't understand why at the time. I didn't, it was just some evil bad guys from an Indiana Jones movie, and Indiana Jones was jumping on the truck to kick their ass. I saw it a million times in the movies, and I didn't know the historic significance behind it. It was just very interesting. But that's hilarious that you had a similar experience. That is, what are the odds that somebody reading the book had a very similar experience to that particular memory? That's crazy, man. That's hilarious. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying it. But yeah, let me scroll up here. The next question comes from Ari Pavera? I'm sure I butchered it. Ari asked this question a month ago. So when he asked this, the book was not out. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So Ari, if you're watching this right now, you're listening to this right now, it's out. I believe I published it on December 2nd. I believe I did. One sec. Let me text my wife back. She's asking me where I put the hot chocolate. All right, cool. So yeah, Ari, it's out. It's available now in paperback. And I'm hoping to get maybe this weekend the Kindle version finalized and the audiobook finalized. It's kind of my goal. It's kind of what I'm shooting for. So yeah, it's available now. It's $10.99 on Amazon. I believe it ships anywhere Amazon ships, so pretty much worldwide. So yeah, check it out if you're curious, man. And I apologize for not getting to this the December portion of the Q&A when I earlier could have answered your question before it came out. But even answering your question when I planned on doing this Q&A, I probably didn't have a specific date that I was going to release it. It was like literally, I finished it and it was sitting there, and one random morning I decided, you know what? It's time. It's time to put it out. And it was just kind of a random decision. One morning I just felt like, okay, it's been done for a while. It's been done for a few months. Let's just hash out a quick description, because whatever. And let's get this puppy out. So I did. But yeah. Anyway. Imagine the Earth getting a message of revenge from Hitler all these years later. Oh, I see, like Palpatine in The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to mention like the movie Contact, the novel Contact. Actually, I've never read Contact. I've never read the Carl Sagan Contact. I've only seen the movie that it was based on. So I don't know what creative liberties they took with the book, or the movie rather. There's a part in there where, all of our television broadcasts are forever floating into the cosmos. They diminish with distance and time, but they're out there. And the aliens send back encoded messages in television transcript in television imagery. And one of the first broadcasts ever to be sent out was, I believe, at one of the Olympics, where it was in Germany. So the aliens, the first thing that they ever saw of Earth was the most evil son of a bitch to ever grace this planet. It's interesting. It was very interesting. That's such a good movie. I need to read the book. I own it. I've never read it. I own I almost... I'd have to look. I want to say that I own most of Carl Sagan's books. Definitely not all, but yeah. Anyway. My favorite Indiana Jones movie, Muddler. My favorite Indiana Jones movie is... I'm going to say Temple of Doom. I'm going to say Temple of Doom. I love Temple of Doom. I watched it more than the other two in the trilogy as a kid for whatever reason. I think it was just because we had it on VHS. We had them all on VHS, but that VHS was in like my family's it was in my family's like minivan, because we had a TV in the minivan, and we just watched it every road trip constantly. It's goofy. It's very different than the others. Raiders has my head. Temple of Doom and Last Crusade have my heart. But I think it's Temple, man. Whenever I watch Temple, I go, oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite. But anyway. The next question from Patreon comes from Joseph Farrell. Hey, HD, do you think it's possible that Baby Yoda and Yoda are related? Baby Yoda is 50 years old, and after all, and Yoda was still the Grand Master of the Jedi Order back then. Since we only know very little about their species, do you think it's possible they're related, or just that all of his kind are innately force-sensitive and are all the same color? Also, I hope you and your family had a great Thanksgiving and have a very Merry Christmas. Well, I hope you did as well, man. It's definitely possible. I kind of like the idea of Baby Yoda, this kid from Yoda's species, not being related to Yoda at all. I like that idea, that concept, better than him being related to Yoda. I've said this before, but when everybody has to be related, it makes the universe feel small to me, if that makes sense. But so it's possible. It's absolutely possible. I think the timelines would match up. The only other character that we know of from Yoda's species is Yaddle, right? And according to Wikipedia, last time I checked, Yaddle was a part of the Jedi Order, left the Jedi Order to take care of something. I can't remember. So it's possible. It's possible. I guess it's possible. But I like the idea of maybe Yoda's species. And let me say this. I love that Yoda's species hasn't really been touched before. It's one of the most mysterious things in the entire franchise. And to think that hasn't been mined to death is kind of astonishing to me. But I love the idea that Yoda's species is kind of one of the last great mysteries in Star Wars that hasn't overly been explained, right? And so yeah, it's possible, long story short. But I definitely like the idea of this kid not being related and just being, a member of Yoda's species. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Joe. Let me scroll up here. For me, Crystal Skull is fine until it isn't. Yeah, I like a lot of that movie. I like a lot of the beginning of the movie. I like the beginning of the movie. I like Shia LaBeouf in it. I like the playful nature of the beginning, and then it just kind of goes downhill. So I kind of get what you're saying there, Vince. But yeah, I should have filled up my water again. I got how many ounces left? 24 ounces of this Nalgene, and I've already had 8. I'm gonna need to fill this up a couple more times. All right. The next question from Patreon comes from Mr. Paul Robinson. It's always good to see you, man. So Mando, which obviously I haven't seen yet as it's not here in the UK, and I'm a good boy and don't pirate, but it's freaking awesome. The Asset and Anakin are roughly the same age. Did the Force create 2 beings, one dark and one light? Your thoughts? Oh, interesting. I haven't thought of that. Apologies if you've covered this. I'm balls deep in work and panto rehearsal. Time is shorter than I am. In fact, definitely too short to be a stormtrooper here. I hope the the move goes well and you have a wonderful festive season. Paul, right back at you, man. So I hadn't thought about that. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I like that. I like that concept. I think I like that concept. Face value. Just, I like that concept. The Force creating 2 beings, one dark and one light. If that is the takeaway, even if that's just kind of an implied takeaway, even if that's kind of, you know, a something that the fans, the viewers kind of spin, I'm fine with. I don't necessarily know if I want that to be explained. I like, you know, I like the mystery of this kid, and us not knowing exactly where he came from. And I don't feel, personally, you guys know me. I don't need that explained. I'm fine with this being the first introduction of this character and not needing or knowing any backstory whatsoever to the character. I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. I have a feeling that we're going to learn a lot about this character and the character's past. But for me, you know, everything needs a beginning and or an introduction. And I think this is a good introduction. And learning about his past and where he comes from isn't necessarily that important to me. So I do really like that idea. But I don't necessarily want it to be explained, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? And you're not too short to be a stormtrooper, man. Dude, I have trooped with 501st members that are super short, and they have stormtrooper armor on. So don't sell yourself short there. Don't sell yourself short. I'm 6'2", and my stormtrooper armor, the one thing that is too small for me is my shoulders. My shoulder armor is too small. It was not made for me. It was. I think the average height of a stormtrooper in the movies was like 5'7", and these molds, you know, it shows that it's. If you look at it, to me, it shows that it's a little too small for my shoulders, but it works. You know, it works. But yeah. Anyway. I appreciate that, Paul. I hope you're having a good one. Let's see. Let me scroll up here. When they name Baby Yoda, people are going to be upset. They're used to calling him Baby Yoda. Psychotic. Yeah, I don't really necessarily want a name. Not that I would be upset. I like the idea. I like the mystery of it. You know, I like this kid. I would assume that nobody around anymore knows his name. He's probably gone from place to place as just an asset that's been passed from person to person, from group to group, and I'm assuming he doesn't know his name. And I kind of like the idea of, you know, this character with no backstory whatsoever. We're introduced to him, and nobody knows anything about him. He's just the child. I dig it. I dig it like that. But yeah. Anyway. Sully Hogs, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening, man. Farts in face. Let me right back at you. Oh yeah, so I am gonna hop on after this. I'm gonna hop on Discord for a few minutes and hang out with you guys and see what's going on. But yeah, right back at you, man. It's good to see you. I appreciate that channel support this evening. Did you get any questions? I don't think you're on here, right? Let's see. All right, cool. All right. The next question on Patreon comes from Jack. Hi, Greedo. What do you think of Star Wars memes? From prequel memes, sequel memes to Baby Yoda. Got a favorite Star Wars meme? You know, a favorite Star Wars meme. I'm not one to like. The only memes that I like, honestly, are ones that I see from like a Instagram account that I follow called Decelerate Yourself. Is that what it's called? I think it's called Decelerate Yourself. And my phone isn't loading. Come on. Why is it that whenever... There we go. Oh, Decelerate Your Life. It's a spin on the Navy. It's a bunch of active duty and Navy veterans who run this Instagram account, and it's just a bunch of military memes. That's the only thing. But for me, Jack, like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, sometimes I see memes and things like that, and I laugh, but then they lose their steam, right? Maybe I'm just an old fucker. But once I see something and then it gets shared over and over and over again, it kind of loses its value, right? Like when you hear a joke over and over again, you don't keep laughing unless it's really inappropriate and you're getting something for shock value out of people. But so no, I don't have a favorite. I do enjoy seeing them initially. But once I've seen one, I don't really care to see it again, despite things constantly being sent to me or me being tagged in things. You know, I don't know. A favorite? I have no idea. Dude, like thinking about watching the prequels, right? Back in the day. And thinking about some of the phrases that became huge from the prequels, like something simple like hello there. If you would have told me 20 years ago that hello there would become this giant internet meme, I don't even know if meme was a phrase back then. Richard Dawkins actually coined the phrase meme from The Blind Watchmaker, right? Richard... Oh, the selfish gene. Oh, no, okay, 1976. Oh, wow, I didn't know it was from that. I thought it was from The Blind Watchmaker. Interesting. I've read a few of his books. So, yeah, the term comes from Richard Dawkins in a book called The Selfish Gene that he released in 1976. He created the term meme. Spin on gene, like a cultural thing that traverses generations, right? Culturally, not necessarily genetically. If that makes sense, but yeah. Anyway, what am I talking about? So yeah, no favorite. Not the hugest fan. I guess I get it. I'm just old, I suppose. But I appreciate that, Jack. If anybody has some good memes, feel free to fire them my way on the old Twitter. The next question on Patreon, as the chat is... What's going on? Oh, silly gooses. I love it. Psychotic is the next patron. On Patreon. Psychotic says, "Hey Greedo, hope all is doing well with yourself, the wife, and the daughter. My question is, will we be getting a house tour when you have moved in and have settled in? Thank you for what you do. Stay you." Absolutely, man. So yeah, a house tour is definitely inevitable. I don't know if I'll do a house tour in a conventional sense of like holding my camera up and giving you an actual tour around the house. I think a house tour would just be shots that blend in with the background. Like when I did my The Rise of Skywalker initial thoughts and review video, I shot that around, I believe, 3 rooms in my house. One was in the living room, but you couldn't really see much. The other one was in the kitchen. The other one was in my office, and you couldn't really see much other than the kitchen. So I think a house tour is going to basically be throughout a lot of my future videos. And I have one video that I've written out. I've actually recorded a lot of audio for, utilizing the Vader helmet. And it's a little spoof video. It's a really dumb video. And in that video, there's going to be no green screen. It's all going to be shots around my house. And I think in that video, you're going to see a lot of the house. But yeah, I mean, if I'm sure once we get some stuff going, get some more decorations up and whatnot, because the walls are pretty bare bone right now. We haven't, customized much for our liking. I'll be posting pictures and whatnot, but yeah, it's kind of my plan. I'm really excited to make the video that I mentioned. I don't want to give anything away. It's not exciting, trust me, but I like the idea. I just hope it's decent because it could be fun. People might like it. It's whenever I do those silly, nonsensical parody videos, and it's not really a parody video, but whenever I do those kind of videos, it's not like they get any great views or anything like that, but I especially moving into the new house, my goal is to make more videos like that because they're fun, they're different, and you can't always just talk about movies and movie news all the time, right? You gotta have some fun too. But I appreciate that, Psychotic. All right. They be fighting. Don't fight. This isn't the place for some fighting. What's up, Wayfez? What's up, 6 Foot? What's up, Sully? What's up? Oh, what's up, Mr. St. Jake? Good to see you, man. Golly. All right. The next question comes from Fifi Gable. What's shaking HD? Nothing is worse than moving. Good luck with that. Now you have room for baby number 2. Question. Are you and Mando related? Are you really a Mandalorian in Stormtrooper disguise, or is there another reason you never removed your helmet? Haha, take care. Happy holidays. Yeah, the move. Dude, well, you sent this a month ago before we even moved, which is kind of crazy to think that it's already been a month. But it wasn't too bad. We had the biggest U-Haul you could rent, and the first load of the U-Haul, brought it to the new house, unloaded it. And in my head, I was like, oh, the second load is going to be so much easier. It's going to go so much quicker. But it actually took way longer because it's just bullshit. It's just odds and ends and little stuff. And you're like, we don't need this. But you end up throwing it in the truck anyway. And it took way longer. So, I was like, oh, we'll probably be done by 4 p.m. No, it was like 9 o'clock by the time we closed up. It's just crazy. So it always takes way longer, right? And it's always a bigger pain in the ass than you think it's going to be. But, no, me and the Mandalorian are not related. Tell you the truth, Fifi, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this before, but, me wearing the helmet constantly, never showing my face, was not an intentional decision at the beginning of this channel. I actually was planning on not even doing like a face reveal or anything like that, but doing just a video of me sitting in front of the camera, just talking. Like not even thinking that like about any kind of mystery or fun with it. But then I started seeing people comment, like, do a face reveal, what you look like, all that, this kind of shit after a few of my first videos. And then I sat back and I was like, oh, this could be a fun little gimmick, like, I don't know, it could just be a fun gimmick. Like Daft Punk, some stupid thing like that. So I've just played into it, and it's been fun, So it's no other reason than that. It's not like I want to not it's a hindrance, to tell you the truth, Fifi. I'm kind of over it now because it definitely increases the time it takes to make videos, and I can't really utilize facial expressions. Whenever I write skits and stuff like that, I would love to be able to add facial expressions in there, but nope, it's just a blank face frowny stormtrooper mask. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, Newhouse is great, man. And I appreciate that. We are not related. We are not related, Fifi. All right, let me scroll up a little bit here. Maple syrup in the coffee. I've never had that. It's not a bad idea, I bet that tastes pretty good, Masterbuilt. Do a little cowboy coffee. That's always good. The movie critic dude asks the next question from Patreon. Hey, HG, what's up? Just turned 22 yesterday. Nice. Happy birthday. Belated birthday. Been also busy lately, especially with Christmas break coming this month. My question is, how has Mandalorian been for you, especially since we don't know what the story path will go to? Also, do you think we will get DLC story content for Jedi Fallen Order in the near future? Well, I can't. It's hard to answer this question now that we do know where the Mandalorian goes, at least in season 1. I've really enjoyed the Mandalorian. It's just kind of like an easily digestible, fun 30-minute show that just, you know, it's the characters are enjoyable. The acting sometimes feels very wonky to me. But overall, I've really enjoyed it. I'm excited to see where Season 2 takes us because, you know, Season 1 was great. I really enjoyed the fast pace of it, and every episode seemed to take us to a new place with new characters. We didn't stick around too long until the final episode, or the final 2 episodes. That being said, I really want Season 2 to kind of bring things full circle and have us stay stationary for a little bit, right? Although I don't think that'll be the case. There is kind of something lost for me when every single episode, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it at first, but there is something lost when you don't stick around very long and you can't observe characters and you can't get to know characters through an extended period of time. That being said, I think we will kind of return to some familiar places. I have a feeling the Mandalorian is going to go back to that village, all that kind of stuff. So that would be my only critique, is that I appreciated it at first, but I want a little bit of stationary, getting to know ya, right? Through getting emotionally invested in certain characters and stuff like that. But yeah, and Jedi Fallen Order DLC, I would love for it to be there. I'm not privy to any information. I have no idea if they're working on anything. If I had to guess, golly, if I had to, man, I feel like something would have been announced already, but I could be wrong. For me, I would rather them put their efforts into a new game, just flat out new game. I don't necessarily want DLC, to tell you the truth. I would rather have a new game. So that being said, I'm kind of leaning towards maybe no DLC, just for the sole reason that nothing has been announced yet. And normally, I feel like normally, whenever a game comes out, you know, there's usually an announcement of future DLC and stuff like that. But all in all, I would rather the effort go to a new game, right? Not even necessarily a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order 2, but a new Star Wars game, if that makes sense. So anyway, happy birthday, man. I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you had a good holiday. I hope you had a good New Year. I hope you're having fun. If you're still down in Orlando, I hope you're still banging it out and having some fun down at Full Sail, man. Unlimited power. All right, most of this chat is just mods. Yeah, everybody tuning in who's not a supporter of the channel, thanks for stopping in and let me ramble on with some of these questions and just hanging out and sitting back. These supporter Q&As are always super low-key, and they're questions from Patreon, fleet members in the chat. Tonight we have a lot more mods than normal, too. It's the mod chat. Good to see everybody. The next question comes from Chris Topher. Good to see you, man. Let me take a quick sip of the old water. My throat's starting to close up. I've been getting a kind of a pretty wicked cold starting since last night, really. All right. Chris says, hello, Greedo. Happy holidays to you and yours. Right back at you, man. Belated, of course. It's been a while since I participated in a Q&A, but I'm still here supporting because I've missed the last few. I've got 2 questions for you. One, by the time you make this, I'm sure you have seen episode 9. For me, the movie was a giant mess and was not cohesive with the previous 2 films, something I don't think you can say about TLJ in relation to TFA. I agree with that. This movie was billed as the conclusion to the sequel trilogy, but also the story being told over 9 episodes. Do you think that this is true? Does The Rise of Skywalker conclude the overarching... Man, I needed some tea or something. A story that was being told through the whole saga for you. It doesn't for me. Also, in your eyes, what was the overarching story being told Anakin, Luke, and Rey's stories? I love the audio bar graphic you have in your more recent videos. Where? Oh, okay. Yeah, where there's a picture of you in the audio bar going along with your voice. I'm looking to spruce up my tutorial videos for work and would love to add something like that to it. How do you create that effect? Thanks, Chris. That effect is really easy to do. I don't know what program you're using. I use After Effects, and it's an effect built into the program. I don't know what it's called. It might be like visualization or audio visualizer or something. It might be audio visualizer. It's an effect in the program, but there's other ways to do it. If you Google that phrase, audio visualizer, that's what it's called. It's really easy to do. I even have it here. You see on the screen for music. There's a little bar popping up. You can change the look of it and whatnot, but it's super easy to do, man. I'm sure there's a lot of other audio visualizing programs and plugins and stuff like that, so check it out. But for me, I do it in After Effects with some built-in stuff that they have. So I feel the same way about The Rise of Skywalker. It didn't feel like a continuation. It didn't feel like a sequel. It didn't feel like a continuation to the previous 2 films. And as a conclusion to the overall 9-film saga, I think the fact that I didn't really care for the movie that much, I'm pretty split 50-50 on it, is a reason why it just kind of feels pretty anticlimactic, I guess. There's so much, man. I actually have a video coming out tomorrow about The Rise of Skywalker. I can't get over Palpatine being back. For a long time, since April, since we found out that Palpatine was coming back, I've reserved judgment. I was a little hesitant, but I said I was going to hang out, and I'm not going to have a knee-jerk reaction here. I'm going to see how it's executed and go from there. And then when it happened, I didn't like the execution. I thought it felt so forced and ham-fisted. It did not, as I said, it did not feel like a continuation. So as a conclusion, it didn't really do much for me, didn't really do much for me. I like, that being said, I did like the conclusion of like Rey and Ben. Their relationship has been fun to watch over these 3 films, and I thought that was the strongest part of this entire movie. That's like the one aspect that I really enjoyed. So it was a decent conclusion for them. But as an entire saga, the part that I just can't get over is Palpatine being back and the execution of it and how forced it felt. And as a conclusion, it felt cheap. It felt like a cheap conclusion. What do we do? We bring Palpatine back. It felt cheap. It felt very unimaginative to me. So it was an unimaginative conclusion, I guess, if that makes sense. But anyway, Chris, I appreciate that, man. I hope you had a good little holiday to yourself as well with the family. And yeah, if you have any questions about the audio stuff, feel free to shoot them my way. I haven't really messed with very many programs. But like I said, After Effects is so easy, and I guarantee no matter what audio program, no matter what video program that you use, there is some kind of audio visualizer that's either built in or has a plug-in for it, But yeah. What I really don't get is Palpatine having a child psychotic. Yeah, it's a little goofy to me, right? It definitely leaves room for a lot of questions and non-film material to cover, right? Who was his kid? Who was Rey's parent all about? Who were they? Even the delivery of the reveal was just, you're Palpatine. It just, okay. Oh man. The more the video that I'm releasing tomorrow is literally called "The More I Think About the Rise of Skywalker." ... So yeah. Anyway, the next question on Patreon comes from Admiral Crust. Sup HG, although I did enjoy a few things in The Rise of Skywalker, I was not a big fan of it. It really felt like Rian Johnson wrote JJ into a corner with TLJ, and JJ was desperate to make an exciting movie with what he had. In the end, I think we ended up with a very messy trilogy that, at least for me, ruined the arcs of Anakin and Luke and kind of broke the whole saga. Now that we have the whole sequel trilogy complete, I want to ask you this. Was it a bad idea to make a sequel trilogy in the first place and continue a story that was already concluded after episode 6? Maybe it should have been something completely different than what we got. I kind of dismissed the idea that J.J. Abrams was written into a corner. That's what I even talk about this in the video that I'm uploading tomorrow. Whenever people bring up, that's all they had to work with. I say nonsense. It's, they're writers. They work with what they have. They literally had 2 years of in-universe time. I think it was 2 or 3 years actually, to hash out what they wanted these characters to do, right? They could have come up with some really unique ideas, interesting stuff, really inventive concepts. But no, they just Death Star 2 it again, right? Even worse than Death Star 2. This is just felt so ham-fisted and forced to me. So no, it does. I like, I really like The Force Awakens. I really like The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker is just kind of there for me. And the thing is, Admiral, there's been Star Wars movies that I haven't liked, and they don't diminish my overall love of what came before or what came after. Does that make sense? I don't like a Star Wars movie that I don't like to interfere with the Star Wars movies that I do like. And I don't think the arcs of Anakin and Luke and all that stuff from the original saga and beyond, and before rather, was diminished either by the sequel trilogy. For The Rise of Skywalker, it's... I'll always just think what could have been. TLJ, for me at least, offered up a lot of really interesting ideas, a lot of really interesting concepts. And The Rise of Skywalker was just kind of just a I don't even know, pandering to the most basic Star Wars fan need that I have, right? Nothing really new, nothing really inventive. But that's just me. Anyway. No, I don't think it was a bad idea to make a sequel trilogy. Was it a bad idea to make a prequel trilogy? People would say that back in the day, right? Those are pretty loved nowadays, which is kind of crazy to see that twist, that turn. Should it have been different? I would have almost... And I said this back in 2012 when we discovered that we were getting new Star Wars movies. I've always said that, if the original cast was going to be in there at all, use them extremely sparingly. And they showed a lot of restraint, in my opinion. Sure, Han Solo was in there a lot in The Force Awakens, but he was a part of a broader narrative, right? He wasn't front and center. This wasn't a romp. This wasn't a Luke, Han, and Leia run through the galaxy. I never wanted that. That never sounded interesting to me. Pass the baton to a new generation. So, I'm pretty pleased with the first 2 films in this sequel trilogy. The third one is where it kind of left me, but it's okay. I've been left behind with Star Wars before, with movies, and we keep ticking. We keep looking forward to the next thing. That's how it goes. It's all good. It doesn't ruin anything for me, that's for sure. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Admiral. And all right, so we get to the questions from 4 days ago. Now we're entering January territory. All right. Icy Bubba doesn't mean you have to like them. And that's why I appreciate you, HD. You're not rude to those of us that like it. No, that's silly, right? Why? I don't understand why people have to be assholes to people for liking a thing or not liking a thing. It's dumb. That's dumb talk. I don't get it. It's weird. It's weird to me. Like, oh, I don't know. It's like debate me. Debate me! Stop. I don't care. I don't want to debate you. I liked a thing. I liked a thing that you didn't like. Cool your shit. HelloGreedo's a coward. He won't even debate me on my podcast. I don't. I have a kid. I do freelance stuff. I work on channel stuff for like an hour a day. Cool your shit. Debate me. People are goofy, man. All right. We're entering January territory. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 questions from January. Nice. All right, cool. All right, the next question on Patreon comes from Will Thompson. Did Will start December as well? Oh, he was second in December. Okay. I'm having deja vu. This is the first time this has ever happened. Sully Hogs, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support as well, man. I greatly appreciate that. Hashtag ban Greedo. Hashtag cancel Greedo. Hashtag ban Greedo. Get that trending. Hashtag ban Greedo. What's the reason? What's the reason that I'm for cursing on the internet? I don't like bad words. Hashtag ban Greedo. Don't ban Greedo. Ban Greedo from Discord? Don't ban Greedo. Hashtag unban Greedo. But I appreciate that, man. Yeah, like, as I said, 11 questions here. I'm guessing it's going to be another hour or so. So then I'll hop off, go to the bathroom, fill up my water bottle, and then jump on Discord for a couple minutes. But yeah, I appreciate that, man. Hashtag unmod Greedo. There you go. The next question on Patreon comes from Will Thompson. What are you most looking forward to in the future of Star Wars? It may be something specific, such as the Clone Wars 7, Mandalorian Season 2, or more vague, such as more shows or books. I'm looking forward to a hiatus of movies. Love them, but this is a much-needed break for the fandom. So, Will, the things that I'm looking forward to the most are the movies. But, that being said, I am in complete agreement with you. I'm looking forward to I can't speak tonight. Why can't I say that? A hiatus as well. Star Wars to me has always been about anticipation and hype and build up. And when you're getting a Star Wars movie every year, there's no time to breathe, for me at least. And it's kind of funny that you would think, right? Star Wars channel. You want a bunch of movies. You want a bunch of shit to talk about forever. No. I'm a fan first and foremost, and I would rather these things be paced out with hype and anticipation. I don't need something every year. Give it to me every 3 years, right? Something like that. I'm fine with that. It's cool. Take a 10-year break. I'm fine with that. It's cool. But yeah, the thing that I'm looking forward to the most still is the movies, because with season 7 of the Clone Wars coming up and the Mandalorian coming up, or season 2 of the Mandalorian coming up, whenever that is, a year from now, 2 years from now, who knows? Kind of have a general idea of what it's going to look and be like, right? Or at least we don't know where the stories are going, but we know kind of a general sense of how things are going to be, I guess. With the movies, dude, it is just completely unknown. That's what intrigues me. That's what excites me, is where we're at right now. Saga films gone temporarily. I'm willing to bet that 15, 20 years from now, we'll be getting an episode 10. But that unknown factor of what are the new movies going to be about? What are they going to be like? What boundaries are they going to push? What are they going to try to do? That's what really intrigues me. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. And it's kind of a nice, as you said, the hiatus, and it's a much needed break. It's a nice break. It's pumping that mystery back into what's coming, right? And I like that. I like that mystery. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. And Grant Guthrie, hashtag smooth sheev best sheev. Have people talked about smooth sheev? I've never heard smooth sheev before. I had to Google it. Now ready, get ready. So somebody did like one of those, how to be smooth sheev smooth. What? Prequel memes. Oh, here we go. Okay, is this? Okay, dude, I'm not privy to all the old memes here. Is Smooth Sheev a meme? Don't call him Smooth Sheev for nothing. Sheev, the original smooth talker. Sheev appreciates a smooth BM. Bowel movement? Oh, it is a bowel movement. Here we go. Colonic. Alright, that one got me. 2 words, 4 letters, say it, and I'm yours. Do it. Alright. Alright, Smooth Sheev. I'm gonna have to go down a rabbit hole with this shit. Here we go. Oh, no, I'm saying I like him better than before he got all Emperor Wrinkly. Oh, I gotcha. This is actually kind of funny. Smooth Sheev is actually kind of a meme here. When you're talking to a girl and she asks straight up what your long-term intentions with her are, to create life. That's hilarious. That's funny. All right. You've turned me on to something that I did not know existed before. The Smooth Sheev meme. I dig it. Anyway, that wasn't your intention, but I appreciate it. And thanks for the channel support this evening, Grant. The next question on Patreon comes from Mr. Lord Zach Felson. Did I pronounce that correctly? Probably not, because I'm a big dumb idiot. Lord Felson. I'm going to say Felson. I'm going to say Felsine. That's what I'm going to say. Lord Zach Felsine, how do you see the future evolution of this channel in, say, and for, say, 10 years? Will this always be Star Wars themed, or will you drift to other franchises? Thank you, long-term supporter of your channel. I appreciate that, man. So, yeah, this HelloGreedo, I think, is always going to be Star Wars. I've dipped my toes into, not other franchises, but I've never felt restricted in talking about other franchises or other things going on in the world, or in, in other fandoms or whatnot. Oh shit, one sec. Zach, did you hear that Death Star alarm? You guys know what that means as fleet members. You know what that means. That means we have a new member of the fleet. Squawg, thank you so much for becoming a member of the fleet, man. I greatly appreciate that. As you can tell, I do monthly Q&As. And you might already know this, but you get a special role in the HelloGreedo Discord server. You got all the Discord mods on. Well, not all of them, but a shitload of... Did I just burp on a live stream? It's very professional here. Hey, I'm a dad. Let it slide. Hashtag Daddy Greedo. But Squawg, thank you so much for becoming the latest member of the fleet. If everybody in the chat could right now say, welcome to the fleet, Squawg, I would greatly appreciate it. And Grant Guthrie, once again, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. There you go. There's another old Star Wars. There's another thing that 20 years ago when I was watching the prequels, if you would have told me that a phrase like that would become something that would circulate on the internet nonstop, never would have predicted that. But yeah, anyway. Grant, I appreciate that, man. I still want to do that meme video. I want to do that, like, HelloGreedo judges, I don't know, Star Wars memes or whatnot. But it's kind of difficult to do with a mask and have a live reaction. I don't know. I've tried to make it a couple times, and it always feels really goofy to me. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. So, Zach, back to your question. 10 years from now, I'm still going to be, I don't know where I will be. 10 years from now, my daughter will be, oh my God, that's really crazy to think about. 10 years from now, she'll almost be 12. Whoa, that's nuts. So yeah, I don't know where I'll be. I've thought about where things go from here once my daughter's old enough, to go to school, and whenever, we decide that we want baby number 2, whenever that kid is in school as well. I'm planning on, because right now I do freelance stuff and school stuff, and not school stuff, but channel stuff, and I watch my daughter during the day, so I do all that. But once they're in school, I don't know where I'll be. I still will be making Star Wars videos, but I don't know how frequently, whatnot. My plan, actually, Zach, is either to become a firefighter, which has kind of been a lifelong dream for me, or do a Florida Fish and Wildlife law enforcement post. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, those two things. I've been doing graphic design for so long. I've done freelance photography and graphic design for so long. And while it's fun and I enjoy it from time to time, I don't want to, I've been employed as a graphic designer as well. I don't really want to do that as my gig. It's a love. Videography and that kind of stuff is a love of mine. And whenever I've been forced to make stuff for companies and whatnot that I don't really have my heart in, I would rather just have it be something that I do on the side, or just for fun, right? Or just for the channel. But yeah, 10 years from now, I'd be willing to bet that I'm still making Star Wars videos from time to time. Who knows where Star Wars will be in 10 years? Maybe we'll get I don't know. I'm very curious what we'll get in 10 years. But yeah, I appreciate that, Zach. Cool question. I'm not much of a planner, so I have no idea where things go from here, man. It's always fun to ride the wave, though. What's crazy, Lord, is, this channel is almost 10 years old. It's like 8.5 years old now. So it's almost 10 years old. So to think of another 10 years is just kind of crazy to me. 20 years? 20 years of a channel's existence. It's kind of mind-blowing to me. I'm very curious where things go. Well, yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, man. Grant Guthrie, once again, thank you for the super chat and channel support. If you do a Star Wars meme tier video, your channel will likely get an explosive influx of views and such. Go for it. Yeah, trust me, I've thought about that, Grant. I've thought about that. As you guys know, views and a huge influx of views and whatnot is not really a goal of mine. It's cool when it happens. But dude, I make videos talking about A New Hope reviews from 1977. You know what I mean? I make videos about somebody being a troll in 1999 about the Phantom Menace. I like making videos like that because it's interesting to me. And while a meme video would probably be pretty good for the channel, I would have to really think about how I want to do it, because I don't want to fake it. I don't want to fake laugh. You know what I mean? I would almost want to play it completely straight and just have not really laugh and kind of make fun of the general idea of memes in a way. I always kind of getting under people's skin in that sense, because people take shit so serious, and it's kind of, dude, it's hilarious to me. Well, there's plenty of real life examples of me doing that and my friends going along with it, but I don't know why. I like kind of making light of things that people take so serious and find enjoyment out of. I don't know why. Because if you can't laugh at the goofy shit that you're into, you need to loosen that grip a little bit, right? But I don't know how I'm gonna do it, Grant. Like I said, at one point, maybe 6 months ago, I downloaded a bunch of memes. Probably further than that. Downloaded a bunch of memes, and I started recording audio, flipping through them, and I found it to be my reaction to be very disingenuous, and I don't want it to be, right? So I got to figure out a fun way to do it where it doesn't make me feel like I'm just pandering for, whatever, meme viewers or whatever, if that makes sense. But anyway, I appreciate that, Grant. In Star Wars Santa has the next patron question here. Has there been any news at all regarding Project Luminous since D23? Last I saw, there was supposed to be an announcement in January. Now that we're here, I've been looking for more information, but I can't find anything. Any speculation about what the project will be about, place in the timeline, anything? I honestly don't really know much about it. I know that it's going to be, a series of... Let me look up what... From what I've gathered, it's going to be books, right? Let's see. Okay, so Project Luminous. Project Luminous is an upcoming project being worked on by, bunch of authors, which spans both comics and books to tell one cohesive story. It is set to be released in 2020. Details about the events are scheduled to be revealed in January of this year. So, Project Luminous, just judging by the title, and I haven't really thought about this too much, I would assume that it's going to dive into a lot of, this kind of base level, right? It makes sense. Force stuff, maybe some really in-depth, I don't know, mysteries being revealed about the Force. If I had to guess, that's what it would be about. But I really have no other speculation than that. I'm just kind of intrigued by it as it said, the description said, it's a cohesive story. One cohesive story. And something like that, where it's obviously a big team effort, a collaboration, is really intriguing to me. I'm not much of a comic reader, but I like Star Wars books. And to know that there's multiple authors, all kind of working together to tell a cohesive story is very, very interesting to me. So it's something that I haven't really had my finger on the pulse of because there really hasn't been any information out yet. But when it does come out, I will absolutely make a video about it, tell you what I think, and start looking forward to doing some reading. But yeah, I appreciate that, Star Wars Santa. All right, let's see. Yeah, I guess so. January, sometime this month. It'll come out of nowhere, I'm sure. That offends me, a comic maker. Dude, when it comes to comics, man, I actually had this conversation with my dad the other day. I've really only read like for whatever reason, Superman is kind of my go-to comic. And that's the only comics that I really read growing up. I for whatever reason, Superman is the only comic book character that I followed growing up. I don't know why. I think I just like the innocence of a Superman. I like the Boy Scouty nature of a Superman, right? The last comic that I read, other than Star Wars, I've read a few Darth Vader comics recently, within the past couple of years. The only other comic that I've read recently, and I say recently, like within the past 10 years or so, is a comic called Why the Last Man, which was great. Where are those books? I own like big hardback compendiums of those books, but anyway, not much of a. I only read that because my buddy, one of my best friends, the guy that's in Sorry About the Mess, the picture that I'm standing next to at the premiere of Revenge of the Sith, he recommended it to me. But all right, the next question comes from Miles Sullivan. Hey HG, I hope you had a great holiday. How would you feel if Jedi Fallen Order got a sequel? And what would you like to see from it if it did get one? Personally, I'd like to see something a bit more ambitious and challenging. I love the game's combat, but I want to see different types of fighting styles or force abilities, since we'd be seeing maybe a bit more of an experienced Cal. So, well, I haven't really thought about abilities and stuff like that, but just from an overall game mechanics, if we're talking Jedi Fallen Order sequel, I would want it to be way more open, Like way more RPG elements, way more kind of choose your own adventure elements. And granted, there was some exploration in this game, but I'm thinking, now that the first Jedi Fallen Order is out, we have Cal's initial story built. Maybe have a sequel that kind of branches out and allows way more exploration, way more side quests, way more things like that, right? A little more open-ended, a little more choose your own adventure. In terms of a Jedi Fallen Order sequel, that's really what I would want. Fighting styles, I would be completely content with kind of even just transferring over what was in the first game, because I loved it so much. It was so challenging and fun. Same thing with force abilities. I kind of like, the force abilities in the game. They didn't feel overpowered. And I kind of like it that way, But for a sequel of Jedi Fallen Order, I think it would be very kind of a good move to kind of take things in a more free roam way, but still tell like a linear narrative. You got to have that in there, but at the same time have a lot more elements of, I don't know, planet hopping, more planets, cities you can travel to, walk around freely in, you know what I mean? If it fits the narrative, I guess, but yeah, name the sequel, go. That's really tough. Jedi, I don't even know. It's like whenever anybody come up with a title for a Star Wars movie or game or whatnot, they all sound so fan fiction-y, don't they? Dark Rising, or you know what I mean? Like, come on, man, come on. Watch it be Jedi Dark Rising. I don't know, but yeah. Vince Wynn, thank you so much for the super chat this evening, man. I appreciate that. Have a box of Oreos on me, Greedo. I appreciate that. I was going to say I haven't had an Oreo in a long time, but I had one like 5 days ago at my parents' house. Where it's at with me, Vince, the like, I don't even know what they're called, but they're like vanilla Oreos. They're not chocolate cookies. They're like vanilla cookies. They kind of taste like animal crackers with that filling inside. For me, that's where it's at. So I will get a box or a bag or whatever they come in, and take a picture of it. How about that? My dad spoiled the hell out of my daughter when we lived with them for those 6 months, and now whenever she sees him, she goes, cookies, and he is the cookie man, and it's just hilarious to me. Cookie man. But yeah. Oreos? What's an Oreo? Oreo. Oh, Oreo O's. What the hell is an Oreo O? Oh, a cereal. Oh, I forgot this existed. First run was in 1997. Oh, wow. Okay, interesting. Oreos, the cereal, was in 1997. It got discontinued in 2007. And it came back out in 2017. So there was a 10-year hiatus. No, a 20-year hiatus. No. A 10-year hiatus where they did not exist. That's interesting. I'm sure I've had them back in the day when I was a kid. But all right. Next time I go, I'll pick up some Oreos. Against my will, goddammit. What's up, pissed off goalie? No, I didn't get a popcorn bucket with my popcorn bucket helmet. Wait, what is that? Did you get the 10 popcorn bucket with your Rise of Skywalker ticket? No, I didn't. No, I didn't get anything at the theater. For The Force Awakens, they were giving out a poster, I think. For The Last Jedi, I did get a poster. For Solo and Rogue One, I did get a poster as well. They weren't handing out anything for this one, at my theater at least. Interesting. But no, I didn't, man. I didn't even know they were handing those things out. All right, so the next question on Patreon comes from Gary McMillan. Let me scroll up here so I can see it. All right, Gary says, "Hey Greedo, I'm really busy these days and don't get to catch up with your streams as much as I would like. Just wanted to say hello and ask how you and the family are getting on. That's it, man. All the best for 2020. Right back at you, man. So, yeah, we're doing really well. You know, we, as you probably know, oh, what happened? And let me pull up the questions again. Accidentally closed out my screen. There we go. As you probably know, we sold our house that, you know, HelloGreedo. Well, HelloGreedo didn't start in that house. HelloGreedo actually started in a little condo that we used to live in. But HelloGreedo kind of found its footing in the house that we sold. You know, we moved into there in 2014. That's when the channel kind of found its footing. I feel like, at least. So we sold that house, lived with my folks for 6 months, and while we were building a new house, and we moved in a couple weeks ago, and things are going great, man. It's just a new neighborhood, bunch of construction around us, and it's fun. It's fun, kind of. We're living in the suburbs now. You know, we used to live downtown in a little 1,000 square foot house, kind of a hip district. That's not a word that we use. But now we live in the suburbs, and kind of in the boonies. It's kind of fun. And it's just kind of been an adjustment because there's not much around us, you know, compared to what we're used to. But it's been great. The house is twice as big as our old house, and you know, it's a sacrifice of location for what you can get out here for your money. And it's been fun. The move was hectic. And there's still a lot to go through. Just the garage is jam-packed with boxes still. And as I go through them, I'm probably going to go, why the hell did we keep this? Let's throw this thing away. Give it to Goodwill. Let's get rid of this thing. But anyway, I appreciate that, Gary. I hope everything's going well for you. And wishing the best for your 2020 as well, man. Red Letter Media just released a Mandalorian review. Nice. Like I said, my wife is going out of town this weekend. And I will, I'll probably watch that this weekend. Get a little Red Letter Media action on the living room TV. That'd be fun. All right. The next question comes from Scott Armistead. Are you surprised we saw The Mandalorian unmasked in season 1? I figured it would be much longer until that happened. No, I wasn't surprised at all, and it wasn't that big of a crazy reveal, to tell you the truth. What would have been fun, Scott, is if we didn't know who the actor was. Granted, we would have been able to figure out through the voice, I think. But if it remained a mystery, and that would be impossible to keep a mystery, I think. But it would have been a fun reveal. It wasn't really much of a reveal for the audience, I don't feel like, unless maybe it was if you're not like knee deep in all this Star Wars stuff constantly. Maybe some people were kind of surprised and didn't really know the man behind the mask. But no. So long story short, Scott, I wasn't surprised. I kind of expected it actually to happen before it did. And it, I really liked the moment where it happened too, between IG-11 and the Mandalorian. I liked the moment that there was compassion there. There was kind of an understanding there. And I really liked kind of the relationship that was built and ultimately, you know, poof away between the Mandalorian and IG-11, and that entire sequence was Probably one of the most heartfelt sequences in the entire show so far. I would say, well, it's kind of tough, but I would say so. So, no, I wasn't surprised, and I actually kind of on the flip side of what you thought. You said I figured it would be much longer until that happened. I think I personally thought it would happen sooner. But yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. You thought it would happen longer. I thought it would happen sooner. So maybe that means it was a perfect little middle ground, right? Interesting. But I appreciate that, Scott. All right. My friend didn't know the actor, so his reaction to the unmasking was awesome for me to witness. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I hadn't really given much thought to that before, 6 foot and Scott, of people not really, like being deep into all this Star Wars stuff. And that goes to maybe a broader statement or broader thought. I think we as Star Wars fans take for granted a lot of the stuff that we know in terms of production and what's coming down the pike. The vast majority of Star Wars fans are your average moviegoer, and they're not completely inundated with Star Wars left and right. They're not a part of like Star Wars Twitter or constantly watching YouTube videos. They're moviegoers. They grew up with Star Wars. Hey, a new Star Wars movie coming out. Hell yeah. And that's the extent of it. So I hadn't really given much thought about people's reactions to the unmasking of the Mandalorian. I'm going to have to ask my buddies. I'm going to have to ask my friends that I know have watched it or my family members that I know have watched it and how they felt about it, what they thought. But anyway, I appreciate that, man. And the next question comes from Mr. Paul Robinson once again. Paul says, Happy New Year, buddy. 2020 is going to be a huge year of change for me. After 15 years writing radio ads, I'm taking redundancy. What is redundancy? On March 31st. I'm taking redundancy. What is that? That is not a phrase that we use that I've ever heard. Redundancy British. Let's see. Redundancy British? Redundancy. Your rights. Government. Gov.uk. All right, let's see. Redundancy is a form of dismissal from your job. It happens when employers need to reduce their workforce. Oh, okay. Well, that makes complete sense. I've never heard it used in that way before. If you're being made redundant, I think maybe the equivalent of that is well, I don't know. I don't know what the equivalent of that would be. So redundancy is a form of dismissal from your job. It happens when employers need to reduce their workforce. If you're being made redundant, you might be... That is such a British way to say that shit. You might be eligible for certain things, including redundancy pay, okay, a notice period, a consultation with your employer, the option to move into a different job, time off to find a new job. You also have specific rights if your employer is insolvent. You must be selected for redundancy in a fair way. For example, because your level of experience or capability you cannot be selected because of age, gender, or if you're dismissed pregnant. If you are, this could be classified as an unfair dismissal. It looks like you guys are beyond us in terms of workers' rights for sure. As I'm reading that, it would be nice for that to be some of that to be the case here. I don't really know labor laws that much, but I know people are fighting for some of those things. Interesting. What did you say? And can't wait. Plans are already made, but what is the best thing that could happen to you this year? Hope the new house is all going well. My love to Mrs. HG and HG Jr. Maybe see you in October. Paul, hell yeah, you're going to Orlando, right? Yeah, if you're ever up in Jacksonville, let me know, man. Or what your plans are while you're down in Orlando. Who knows? Maybe that's when we'll take our daughter to Disney for the first time. Probably a pretty good time to go. So yeah, enjoy that time off. I don't really know what all goes into that, or I'm assuming there's some pay and you're hunting for another job, which is nice. So enjoy it, make the best of it. So what could be the best thing that happened to me this year and the family? Man, that's really tough. I really don't know. Just to be, The new house, Paul, has kind of. I don't stress out. I'm not a stressor. I don't have anxiety. But building this new house, I'm happy now. I was a worry wart for months building this new house because you look at the numbers and it's whenever you make a big purchase, right? You're just worried, constantly worried. And I was worried. It's a 2-income family. I do a lot of freelance gigs. I do some channel stuff from time to time. I'm not the most active YouTuber, right? And my wife works full time. And so I think the best thing that can happen is just continued stability. I'm pretty easy to please. Continued stability, not worrying. And also, I like traveling and I like taking road trips and stuff like that. And we have a few planned this year. So having fun with that, and just watching my daughter grow up. That's the best thing that can happen to me is just kind of stability, continue to have fun with the kid and my wife and just enjoy it, That's no stress. That's what life's all about. When life is relatively easy and enjoyable, we human beings tend to find things to stress about that aren't really that stressful, right? We invent problems and issues where maybe issues and problems don't necessarily lie. We need to fulfill that, hey, we're being chased by lions anxiety, I suppose, in one shape or form. But anyway, I appreciate that, Paul, and best of luck on the future of the redundancy, man. And thank you for teaching me something new. Never heard that phrased that way before. But yeah. Maybe when I go to Disney, I can surprisingly go and see you down there when you go. Yeah, I don't know when we're going. I believe, Wayfez, I believe kids get in for free until they're 3 years old. I think it's 3 years old. So we're definitely going to take advantage of that. But we got a year and some change before she turns 3, so we got some time. But yeah. We live so close, we live 2 hours away, and it's just, I used to go all the time as a kid because it's so close. Used to have season passes and stuff like that. So we're going to definitely take advantage of that when my daughter gets older for sure. But yeah. Anyway, the next question on Patreon comes from, let me scroll up a little bit here. All right. Boom. The next question comes from Christopher Garcia. Random question, but how do you feel about the new trilogy's music now that it's all complete compared to the previous films? Happy New Year. Yeah, I've loved the music in all 9 Star Wars films. The music in Rogue One and Solo aren't that memorable to me, and maybe it's just because I haven't watched them as much as the other films in the franchise. But I loved. I think the most impactful music for me was The Force Awakens, because it was all new, right? March of the Resistance and Kylo's theme, the First Order. There were so many new themes that were created, it was just fresh and new, and it was brand new John Williams pieces. I remember hearing Rey's theme for the first time, sitting in the theater the first time I watched the movie, and just being blown away by its like elegance and just kind of innocence. I instantly loved it. It was an instant love for me. And March of the Resistance, the same thing. Just I just fell in love with it instantly. And then the Last Jedi had great music too. It didn't impact me as much because a lot of the themes were it's just hard to compete with seeing like a brand new trilogy and brand new themes, right? Boom, The Force Awakens, new music. The Rise of Skywalker, I don't really remember honestly scenes and music. That's one of those things that I'll have to pay attention to on subsequent viewings. But in terms of like memorable scenes with memorable music, it's a part of the movie that I have a hard time remembering. It's weird. But overall, man, I love the music in this trilogy, especially leading into The Force Awakens, because, dude, just all the new compositions, all the new pieces by John Williams. It was like unboxing something that had been sitting on the shelf for so long and you didn't know what was in it, and then you're hit with it, and it's just a game changer, you know. But I'm thirsty, Greedo. Yeah, me too. I'm almost done with this Nalgene. I've been sipping on it very, very slowly. Speaking of Nalgene, if I could have one sponsor on this channel, it would be Nalgene. If I could have one sponsor for my live streams, it would be Nalgene. I would love to reach out to them sometime and be like, hey guys, I have plugged your product for like 6 years on live streams. I have drank from your bottles. Dranked? I have sipped from your bottles forever. I had Nalgene bottles on deployment. I had Nalgene bottles when I hiked 40 miles of the Appalachian Trail with my buddy, and he went on beyond me and finished the whole damn thing. I talk about Nalgene bottles every time that I stream. Let's get a sponsorship going. Let's do it to it. Why did I get down that road? I don't know. I'm thirsty. Eric DeRiggi, good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the super chat and channel support. In New York, teachers get accessed equivalent to redundancy. Accessed. Is that what it's called? Accessed. Okay. Let's see. Accessed. NYC accessed staff. Open market transfer system. What? Excess UFT. Okay. Accessing. There are times when a school reduces size. Interesting. So, when a teacher is notified that she is success, she must register on open market for system providing updated contact information. She will also have access to a list of current vacancies throughout the city. And okay, so this is okay. I guess that makes sense. Maybe government jobs have programs like this, Eric. That makes sense, I suppose. I don't know if things like this in the private sector, right? I don't know about that, but that's interesting. I'm sure that's, now that I think about it, this is probably pretty common for maybe a teaching profession or other government occupations, right? Union jobs, probably, right? Interesting. I hadn't really thought of that aspect of it. Okay. I'm reading about it. So, accessing is the process of reducing staff in a particular school when the number of available positions in a title or license or area in that school is lower than the number of people in the school who require an assignment in that title or license area. That's a long sentence. It usually occurs in June in preparation for the next school year or in January in preparation for the next term. You must be informed in writing by June 15th if you will be in excess. Oh, everybody's puckering there. For the next school year, but it is still possible to be accepted after blah, 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 blah. Interesting. Okay. All right. So yeah, there's probably a lot of programs like that for government jobs, right? Excess staff selection system, New York City Department of Education. There you go. Huh. All right. Maybe it's like USA Jobs even. USA Jobs. Every veteran talks about USA Jobs. You see anything on USA Jobs? Got that DD214? But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, Eric. I like learning new shit about things that I don't know anything about and then Googling it and reading a little bit about it. So I've learned about so many random stuff on this channel through these live streams, man. And I love it. I tend to go down these... And whenever something like that pops up, it kind of like, I start talking about it for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Just because it's, I don't know. I like reading random shit. But I appreciate that, man. And the next question on Patreon comes from Harry Reed. Let me scroll up a little bit here. Harry Reed says, "Hey Greedo, wishing you and the family a happy new year. My question is, we know that Harrison Ford believed Han Solo should have died towards the end of the original trilogy. Do you agree with him? Or are you glad he was able to come back for The Force Awakens?" You know, Harry, man, that's really tough. That's really tough to think about it in hindsight like that. The Return of the Jedi, I think, is wow, man, that's. I was going to say it's the weakest of the three in the original trilogy, and I believe that to be true, but it also has my favorite lightsaber fight, my favorite confrontation in the entire saga, is at the end of that, at the end of Return of the Jedi. But, that being said, I think if there was a kind of a sacrifice or something like that, as Harrison Ford has said on numerous occasions, it would have probably been a good addition. Man, that's really tough, because I like seeing Han Solo in Return of the Jedi. I like seeing him unfrozen from carbonite. I like seeing him, go on an adventure, go on Endor. I like all that stuff with Solo. So I don't, man. If they did kill off Han Solo in Return of the Jedi, it would have been great. It would have been a great twist. It would have been heartfelt, and I'm sure that would have given Luke even more of a reason to snap and start bashing his father at the end of Return of the Jedi, right? A little more, make it more intense, maybe make the stakes a little bigger, because everybody survives and gets out scot-free, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's still fun. It's a fun Flash Gordon type flick. So I can't disagree with him, and I can't agree with him. What's done is done, right? And I can picture a version of Return of the Jedi where Han Solo is lost, and I think it would have been, if they did that, I don't think it would be detrimental. I think it would have made a very different spin on the conclusion of that trilogy. So that being said, I loved seeing him in The Force Awakens. Going into the new sequel trilogy, I was a little worried seeing the original trilogy cast. I always said that I wanted the baton to be passed to a new generation, and seeing Han Solo back, kind of reverting to his old ways, was such a pleasure, and it was so well done. And Harrison Ford did such a good job hopping back into that role. Yeah, I loved seeing him in The Force Awakens. With what we know now, I'm glad Han Solo survived Return of the Jedi. So, yeah, there we go. There we go. Lego Star Wars Fan 77. Thank you so much for that super chat and channel support this evening. In your Star Wars film ranking video, you put TFA over TLJ, but then you said in your sequel trilogy ranking video, you put it below TLJ you put TLJ on top. Any particular reason? Well, even in that video that I made, my ranking video, I said it would change, right? And I believe in that video, if not in that video on multiple streams, I've talked about how The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi kind of are interchangeable on my list of favorite Star Wars movies. But after The Rise of Skywalker, and even leading into The Rise of Skywalker, my appreciation of The Last Jedi grew and grew. Because, and especially after seeing the Rise of Skywalker, which was, to me, a very uninventive and just kind of predictable movie, it made me, as I said in my review video, it made me appreciate The Last Jedi even more than I already did. So I think me putting The Last Jedi above The Force Awakens in my sequel trilogy ranking video is almost in part due to my reaction to The Rise of Skywalker, if that makes sense. The Rise of Skywalker made me appreciate The Last Jedi even more. It made me realize that I liked the challenges of The Last Jedi. I liked how it introduced new concepts and interesting ideas. And while I love The Force Awakens for kind of punching me in the gut with a big fist of nostalgia, I would take a movie like The Last Jedi over even that, if we're getting more Star Wars, But yeah, that's basically the reason, Lego Star Wars fan. And that being said, a couple months from now, that might flip again. It's I like those two movies for very, very different reasons. As I said, The Force Awakens is just kind of it's a great introduction, and it hits me in all the right beats. The Last Jedi is it's kind of what I want, if that makes sense. I want to be challenged. I want to be surprised as a film, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate that, Lego Star Wars fan. The next question comes from 6 Foot Piss Radius on Patreon. Hey, Greedo, thanks for taking the time. I can't remember what I was going to ask, so I put this in its place. Ranch or blue cheese? Furthermore, boned or boneless wings? Now take this the most extreme. What's your favorite flavor of wings? Oh my God, you're a man after my own heart. I love me some wings. Thanks and Happy New Year to you and your family. Numb nuts. Bone in, boned wings for sure. Boneless wings I like them. I mean, they're all boneless wings are chicken breasts cut up. That's all a boneless wing is. Boned wings, yeah, I like it, and I like flats more than the drumsticks. I like flats. I eat an entire flat in one bite. The way you do it is, you hold the wing, you hold the flat with your index finger and your thumb finger at the bottom bone where the bones connect. And you put the entire thing in your mouth and you bite down and you pull it out. You pull out the wing, and all the meat is supposed, if they're a good wing, to just completely come out, and you're left with just the bone right in your hand, and all the meat's in your mouth. That's the way you eat a flat, and it's delicious. I love wings, man. So I personally go with ranch, but I don't really eat ranch or blue cheese on my wings. I usually, just kind of eat them with whatever flavor that I get. But if I was to pick one or the other, I would go with ranch. Joey Diaz, the comedian, has a really funny bit, or a really funny, I think it was on a podcast. I don't think it's a part of his stand-up. He has a really funny, over-the-top hatred for ranch dressing. Anyway, that's a sidetracking, but so yeah, my favorite flavor of wing, though, I like a good, a gold barbecue, like a mustardy barbecue flavor. I also like a garlic parmesan, but at the same time, you can't really go wrong with just a regular kind of hot buffalo. So normally, typically, if I go get wings, I usually go for what's known as Gold Rush, which is kind of that mustardy barbecue flavor, or chicken parmesan. But if I make them at home, which we have an air fryer, and we used to make them all the time, we haven't done that in like a year, to tell you the truth. Well, at least not in 6 months. I usually just do kind of a buffalo glaze on it, But yeah, I love it. I love me some wings, man. Too good. I could eat just endless wings. Love it. Publix grocery store, kind of in the south. I don't know how far north they go. Publix has great wings. Great wings. They make their own wings, and I like the naked wings best from them. Breaded ones are good too, but it's just all breading. But dude, they're so good. They're hot and spicy. I put no sauce on those because they're kind of already rolled in, and they're not like over the top. Just because sometimes you go get wings, and it's just like they just throw them in a vat of sauce, right? And it's just dripping with sauce. I don't like that. Keep it subtle. Keep it flavorful, but keep it subtle. I don't want... I don't know. Anyway. Should I just turn this stream into a wings podcast? A wings stream, 6 foot? Now I'm craving wings. God damn it. Yeah, my wife's going out of town this weekend, 6 foot, so I think me and the daughter are going to feast on some wings this weekend. Or at least me. But yeah. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. Now I'm hungry. Don't let this conversation distract us from the fact that the Patriots are out. That was my victory. Do 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 do. We actually watched the last like 2 minutes of that game. We were watching a couple episodes of Mrs. Maisel, which is an awesome show, by the way. And we turned on the game within the last 2 minutes, and it was just kind of a perfect time to turn it on. Exciting. But yeah. Vince Wynn, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support this evening, man. I greatly appreciate that. A little, what is that? Is that a rhinoceros? What is that? What's he doing? Is he spinning with excitement? If you take away the chair, the seat, and the back, it looks like he has 3 peni. That's the plural. Peni. Is that a rhinoceros? No. What is that? A hippopotamus? A cartoon hippo? I'm so confused. Vince, I think you're the only person ever on this channel's existence to throw those super animated things up there. It is a hippo? Okay. It's kind of small on my screen. I believe it's a hippo spinning in an office chair. All right. Hippo. There you go. I appreciate the hippo spinning in the office chair, man. If I had a spinning office chair right now and I wasn't sitting in a very uncomfortable kitchen chair, I would spin with you. But I appreciate that, man. And the next and final question for Patreon comes from Mr. Psychotic. Let me take a quick sip of the old water. All right. Psychotic. Hey, Greedo. It's been a while since I've been on a live stream. Anyway, what do you think is the best way to advertise my work, music, art, etc.? I want more people to check out my stuff, but I don't know how to advertise well to attract that certain people. Can you please help? Give all the best for the Greedo household. Well, I appreciate that, man. Let's see. Oh God, that's really tough. I think social media is huge. Obviously, you know that. If you can interact with maybe creators that you like, music creators specifically, since that's what you're kind of doing a lot of nowadays, maybe you can shoot your music to people that you like. Maybe there's some even smaller music creators that make similar stuff to you, and you ask them for creative feedback, and maybe they'll tweet it out or something like that. I think building relationships like that would be really cool. Other than that, man, something that I used to do a lot of was, and I don't know if anybody ever looked at them or cared, but you can get like a box of 500 business cards from Vistaprint for like $10. I still have a ton of HelloGreedo business cards, some of which say like HelloGreedo YouTube channel, 50,000 subscribers, right? What I used to do whenever I went anywhere, bars, Disney World even, I would leave business cards randomly throughout places. Even in bathrooms, I would leave it like tucked in a mirror. It was I forgot I used to do that. I used to do that all the time, man. All the time. So, you know, maybe something like that would be fun. You could even leave business cards at comic shops or record stores, something like that, if you're trying to get in kind of your music to get some listens. And if that's not doable, I think just utilize Twitter like you've been doing. Maybe tag some creators that you like, musicians that you like would be pretty great to do. It's been a long time since I've thought about advertising, but and even like, and maybe I don't know how useful this would be, but Facebook advertising is cheap, relative. It's relatively cheap. And maybe you could look into that and spend like $10-20 and get a few hundred or 1,000 people to look at a comic or a piece of music, and you can, I don't know if you've ever looked at it, but I've looked at it for clients before. And when you start an advertising campaign on Facebook, you can kind of pick your demographic. You can pick, some categories of what people are into, and it will filter that advertisement to kind of the people that are most likely to click on the thing. So maybe do that. And yeah, if you utilize Twitter, if you utilize maybe the community assets or programs or whatever you want to call them, in some of the website what websites that you use, like Bandcamp, is that a thing still? Or some of the other audio websites that you've been using. I'm sure there's community pages or whatnot, forums that you could go on and talk to people about. Utilize that. Utilize Twitter. Utilize maybe some cheap business cards. Hand them out at put a stack at a record shop or even a comic shop or something like that. Or even utilize Facebook advertising. Don't go crazy with it. Test the waters with like $5 or $10 and see what happens. But I think something like that would be might work out pretty well. And as always, just be patient, But yeah, cool question. And best of luck to you, man. But Caleb Kemp, thank you so much for the super chat and channel support, man. By the way, did you see the chair on Twitter? What do you think? Yeah, I did see it. Let me go back to it. I like the post, right? When I saw it, that was a chair that's kind of the chair that is right up my alley. Something sleek and relatively minimalist. Yep, there we go. I found it earlier this week on live stream. You asked me. There we go. Yep, that's actually Mainstays. Is that Target? Mainstays mid-back office chair. No, let's see. Mainstays mid-back office chair. Oh, Walmart. Okay. No, I like the look of that a lot. And I'm probably going to end up getting something very similar, if not that exact one, but something very similar. Because my old office chair was very big and bulky. It was like, and I probably won't get a mid-back. I'd probably go with a high back just because when I do work on stuff, it's usually pretty long and extensive. And sometimes I do these streams for over 2 hours. This kitchen office chair is not cutting it. So I like the look of that. I like the look of here's what I was actually looking at. Let me see. Enterprise office chair. I'll link it in the chat here. I was actually looking at this just solely for, and it's way too expensive. I'm not getting it. Wow, that's a very long link. I was actually looking at that chair. It's way too expensive. I'm not spending that much money on this dinky ass chair. But I love the look of it. I love the minimalist look of it, right? And it reminds me of, and they've named it Enterprise chair for a reason, right? It kind of reminds me of the captain's chair on the Enterprise. I like that sleek minimalist look, and your chair kind of reminds me of that in a way, not big and bulky, not over the top. And yours looks like it's about $200 cheaper than this thing that should be $50, right? Ridiculous. Regular price. I love these dipshit websites. Dude, I love when you see major sale going on. And no. It says this chair is regularly $705. Fuck off. It's never, I've looked at this chair for 6 months. It has never been that much money. It has always been in the $200 to $250 price range. It's like sales often are just complete gimmicks. Oh look, the chair's normally $700, honey. It's on sale. It's on sale, $457 off. Whoa, we gotta buy it. Gimmicky ass sales. Stupid. But yeah, anyway, I'll probably end up getting something very similar to that, Caleb. But I appreciate you. I didn't realize that was so cheap. I might just end up getting something like that. You know what? I might order that tonight, to tell you the truth. That exact one. I just need something to... I've been sitting in this kitchen chair for a month, and it's just... Dude, it's not comfortable. I don't have armrests, and I just need to get something. So this is cheap. Looks good. Looks minimal. I like the look of it. So I might pull the trigger tonight and just get this thing. Anyway, I appreciate that, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for me to jet. I'm gonna hop off. Sully and 6foot, all the Discord guys. I'm gonna hop off for maybe 10 minutes. I'll jump back on Discord for 10 minutes or so. In 10 minutes, and I'll hear you guys out. But all right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. To all the fleet members, the supporters, the patrons, who are here listening and watching. Thank you so much for the support, guys. You have no idea how much it means, and how much it helps the channel. Without your support, the channel would not exist. So thank you guys for supporting the channel on a monthly basis, tuning into these live streams, and being cool. I appreciate the hell out of it. And yeah, so that was December and January. And the next supporter Q&A will definitely, I mean, it'll be early February. I usually try to make them the first Monday of every month. So it looks like the next one will land on Monday, February 3rd. So let's tentatively plan for that. Monday, February 3rd. So, all right. Time to drink a ton of water. Because my throat is on fire. Getting that cold, man. Getting that cold. But, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Patrons, fleet members, thank you so much, as always, from the bottom of this silly-ass Star Wars YouTuber's heart. I appreciate the hell out of it. Everybody that tuned in just to listen, thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it. Until next time, I will catch you all on the flip side. See ya.